Hey,
Fantastic. Hi, it's great to meet you. Congrats on the new season.
thank you.
Before we talk about season four, I would love to go back to season three and talk about, your character development last season, and especially that amazing interrogation scene between Jim and Gene Cousineau.
Right.
What was it like to develop and perform that scene?
Well, the scene was actually uh, what I did for the audition. And it was pretty much it was written slightly differently, but the minute I read it, I felt it. I knew who this guy was,
Mhm.
and it was very the spareness, the repetitiveness, and all of that told me a lot about his skill set and what he did. He was a high intelligence agent with very sophisticated talents and also developed skills. So, I just did some surfing around and learned how those guys operate and
Mm.
in deep cover and all of that. And Bill was so supportive. I mean, in the middle of the audition, he just kind of freaked out and said, "This is it. This is it."
Oh, amazing.
And and then as we rehearsed it and Henry and I met and we did it a number of times over, we started on that early, knowing that this was going to be the pivotal scene for us.
Mhm.
And did several rehearsals and on that day it was like real actor magic. We just went into that. The set designers were fantastic. They Bill Jim had this garage that he did all of his kind of handiwork out of. They emptied it out and turned it into this real Spartan chamber that
Mhm.
he did his big deep cover work. And Henry and I were just in there like it was like two heavyweight boxers in the ring, and very little talking in between. We knew where we had to be,
Mhm.
and I went forward from my side, and Henry went forward from his side. And when I saw the tear come out of his eye, I knew that both of us knew we got it, and Bill knew, and we
Yes.
this is it, and then we just walked away and then watched it on TV.
Mhm. That's amazing. Wow. Well, I know it's like Jim's character is so layered, right? I mean, he can have that ruthlessness in him that we see in that scene, but then there's also this profound grief for his daughter. How did you develop the character in general?
Well, it was like that. I mean, I led with the grief. He was a
Yeah.
father. A father lost his daughter, and
Hmm.
he would whatever he had to put to and the skills he had to employ to to get an answer, have somebody held accountable. He would put it to work, and so he was he ruthlessly went for it,
Hmm.
and set traps all over the place, as we saw in season three. And he worked with authorities. It's interesting. Some people say that Jim was a bad guy. I never thought of him as a bad guy.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought, I mean, I considered a source, but somebody saw him as a bad guy. But the fact is, he was just a man that was his only daughter was lost to homicide,
Hmm.
and just that heartbreak. That's something that a parent carries forever. There wasn't much more I needed to do than
Yeah.
identify with that, and then the rest was just the story. Just tell the story, and so
Yeah.
that was pretty much it. Yeah, yeah. Just walk with a big baggage, suitcase on your back of your pain, and
Mm.
and,
Yeah.
and that was it. Every scene, you see that, you couldn't even buckle up a smile, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah, he was an intense character.
He definitely is. Well, let's move to season four. So obviously we can't get too spoilery.
Right, right,
I know it
right.
makes it hard for both of us to talk about. But what can viewers look forward to with Jim's character in season four?
Well, they can just see that same intensity, and how it affects the people around him. Uh,
Hmm.
and then, you know, ultimately how it affects him.
So what has it been like to work with the rest of the cast and crew? I mean, you mentioned some amazing moments with Bill and with Henry. What has that all been like as you move into season 4?
You know, this cast is just a gem. This is one of the great casts on TV. I mean, hence you know, the nominations it receives. But I'm honored to be a part of it. I'll say that at first. And I've been part of some really great casts in the past, but this one, this sets aside because the nature of Bill's storytelling is so it's totally random, but filled with emotion. I mean, every kind of emotion, and emotions we haven't even labeled. Everything's just ping ponging all the time. Some of it is you sit on. It's like a almost like a nuclear bomb that you're just compressing, compressing, compressing. Then it explodes into like 40 different kinds of, you know, and every scene kind of, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. And I think that's what sets us apart. That's where the genius is it creates a kind of comedy that you're appalled and you're dying laughing. Absurdist and then at the same time profound, you know. And it's playing in a, you know, so many great shows use comedy, comedy, you know, which you go along, and you like the kind of characters because they're wacky and crazy. Our characters are wacky and crazy and deep, and they feel deep, or they have complexities that are deep. Cousineau is just a classic. I mean, Henry has been brilliant in creating that character, who's like the most outsized narcissist, but at the same time is just afraid of his own shadow. Doesn't know when, you know, it's real imposter syndrome. And everybody has a version of that. Everybody has a version of imposter syndrome, and you know, so many. And even the gangsters, you know, they're not sure what kind of gangsters they want to be. And I think that's what set Jim apart. Jim is assured. He's not trying to be anything other than what he is, and he's authentic that way, and he's a man of few words. I hope that answered your question. That was kind of
yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's so interesting that like you set him apart that way. Just with my last question, I'll ask, what is your favorite aspect of Jim?
The favorite aspect is really his deep, deep intelligence. He's you know, when like a great scientist is always working from their, they make gut kind of calls that things just pop into their brain because they've been cooking, you know, the material. And Jim is in that place where he works out of his gut. You know, he knows so much about the technical and, you know, methodical parts, but then an inspiration comes in and he'll go. And so I really like that about him, that kind of real, assured, deep intelligence.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, he's a pleasure to watch. And I think viewers are going to be excited to see where things head.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.